It's your boy Ancient Out. Oh, wait a minute. He's having technical difficulties. You're stuck with me. What's up? It's Spiggs. Welcome to the CU. We got the wonderful Alpha Dean here, and we got a very special guest. You know, we're gonna have some chat with. I'll let Dean tell us who our guest is, but yeah, welcome to the CU, guys. And before we get started, don't forget there's only 15 hours left on the Anywhere door. That's Monte Cook Games' very own realm on Moonbeam, a new server. So if you want to support content creators, you want to support Monte Cook Games, go check out the backer kit. It's well worth it. And yeah, you might see all three of us. So yeah, you want to support us, go support Moonbeam and Anywhere door. Dean, what are we doing today?
Well, guys, we have none other than the illustrious Wesley Allen, excuse me, creator of DM Tales YouTube channel. I mean, this is where he discusses all sorts of RPGs. He does interviews with game designer, book reviews, walkthroughs, and gaming theories and advice. This channel rocks. You know, I've only watched like 2 episodes. Anthony's watched way more than me, but I'm excited to have this discussion tonight. So welcome, Wes. And without further ado, why don't you say hello to our illustrious audience?
Hello, illustrious audience. That's so awesome, Beyond. Thank you so much for having me, really.
You're welcome. Welcome to be here.
Well, first off, welcome to the CU. Me and you've been playing a Discord tag for several weeks now, so it's great for us to finally do this. Great to finally get you on the show so we can pick your brain a little bit. But before we even get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and your gaming experience.
Okay, that's fun. So I live in South Jersey, just across the river from Philadelphia. I grew up on the Philly side of the river. South Jersey was Here Be Dragon's Land, and now I live here, so it's weird. Started playing way back with Monte Cook Basic Expert. That was my first experience with D&D. Collected, never played. Collected through the 80s because it was pre-internet, and I didn't have other nerds around me to play. I was the weird kid. Walked away in the 90s and was ready to come back and didn't have time or money. And the pandemic drew me back into the hobby. So about a year after that, I was running a game, and a year after that, I was running a YouTube channel. So I describe this as my midlife crisis.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great midlife crisis. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I agree.
It could have been a lot worse.
It's all the things that could be midlife crisis. I'll take the one that I make just a little bit of money off of so that I can buy more games to support my midlife crisis. It works out really well. It's just...
I definitely understand the collector just collecting, because I had a 10-year gap between gaming and I was still reading all the current RPGs, but I wasn't playing.
Yeah,
it was around the 4th edition era. Like, I was buying everything and reading everything. I just wasn't playing. So I definitely feel you on that.
I really took a break from playing, but yeah, there was a period I guess I slowed down. But more than anything, it was I just love books. As you can see, the bookshelf behind me, you know, and it's like all around the room. We're all a bunch of book nerds here.
Yeah, it's always been part of me. I mean, I was out of the hobby for 30 years. It's always been part of me. When we moved here, we were over at Cherry Hill Mall, and there used to be a game store in the mall. It was mostly Warhammers. They had all the miniatures set up. There was a guy with like one of those 50-foot like phone cords out. You can tell how long ago this was. And he's talking about it. And I'm there with my 3-year-old daughter pushing her in the stroller because I just wanted to see what my people were doing again. And we were walking by, and the guy said, "Well, it worked, but now they're all pissed off at you because you just killed a 3,000-year-old elf." And my 3-year-old daughter did one of these in the stroller, and I just looked at her and said, "It's okay, dear. You're among Daddy's kind." So, and she plays with me now. She's in my Numenera campaign, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's where you said you took your daughter to Gen Con this year, right?
No. That was someone else took to Gen Con. I'm going to take her to Page this year, Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. So I have not been to Gen Con yet. I'm hoping to go next year. So that's my goal.
Nice. When does Page happen?
Page is happening MLK weekend in January in
Okay.
Oaks and Philly area Expo Hall. So
I think I'm on that list.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of old school luminaries that are going to be there, and a lot of folks who are kind of like in more indie developers are all going to be there too. So it should be a good time. So
Nice.
and
Well,
small.
before I ask my first question, just gonna do one other quick shout out. Hey everybody, Al's Entropic Isles is live. Get it? Don't be square. It's a great piece of work too. But now back to the fun. So Wes, your channel, your YouTube channel, DM Tales, it's wonderful.
Mhm.
It's a great resource for gamers.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about your show, and what is the origin of DM Tales?
So I had originally thought, well, it would be fun to tell the story of my table to folks. That would be a fun time, and nobody watched them. So apparently it was fun for me, and it wasn't fun for anybody else. And when you do stuff, you want to know that people are doing things. And about that time, I had picked up Basic Fantasy RPG, and I was like, "Whoa, this was more like the game that I played when I was a kid." And so I reviewed it, and that went right up the chart as far as all of my views at the time. And I just started getting more and more into doing reviews. And I'm a little bit of I'm a glorified hack, so I'm a little bit of a layout nerd. So kind of my shtick is that I'm always looking at how the books are laid out, and like I obsess over what fonts get used because I'm like, oh, that's a cool heading font. Nobody else cares about this except for like me and like 3 other of my viewers. But it's something that really kind of pleases me. And it's that just kind of snowballed from there as I kept on doing more and more reviews. I had some folks who were really, really gracious. The folks at Pickpocket Press, when Low Life 2090 came out, I said, well, that seems really interesting. He's like, oh, I'm going to send you a review copy. And I was like, I think it was my first or my second hard review copy that got sent to me. And he was very pleased and then sent me low fantasy gaming for that. And that was something that really touched me, that I was very honest. I try to be very honest in my reviews as to how I'm receiving these things. And if I offer any critical feedback, it's always that here's how maybe I would make it a little bit better. It's never like these people suck, because there's so much of that on YouTube, and I want to be helpful. That's how I always want to be. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And then last summer, I had Doug Shute from Free League. So if you've ever been to Free League's booths at like the big campaign plugs there, he had treated me so well at PAX Unplugged when I was going to go try to buy a Forbidden Lands package. I was like, I need to have you on my channel. And so he actually came on, and he got me hooked up with Free League to get into their kind of press releases. Got me connected with the author of Pirate Borg to do one of my first interviews. And he was really encouraging to me, just because I had less than 2,000 subscribers at the time. I'm like, I'm nobody. Why would you want to come on? He's like, Wes, would you stop it? You do something that folks just want to hear. You do something that's valuable, and people who are involved in the industry, they want to be able to share their stuff with people who are going to be positive. They're not always going to be gushing, but they're going to be positive. They're going to be helpful. They're going to be kind. And you have that. Reach out to these folks. And so I went, okay. And so that's when I started. I was like, okay. So I'm forever thankful to Doug. Victory Condition Gaming. He's awesome.
Nice.
But that's how I started talking to like Matt Finch and got Kelsey Dion on, and DM Scotty from Easy D6. And I've started there, and it's like, okay, well, maybe these folks will talk to me. And that's like, now I'm hanging out with you. So that makes me, me happy. I'm really grateful.
It's like it's a small world. We interviewed Doug at GameHoCon like 2 years ago, and he was and I literally, Dean knows the story. I just walked the whole con, and I'm an extrovert, so I said, "Hey, can I interview you?" And he was like, "Sure, why not?" And we interviewed him, and I did that with everyone at the booth at GameHoCon, and he was fantastic. I spoke to him afterwards, like through email and stuff. He was just a great guy.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we actually had a blast walking through, just randomly, hey, can we talk to you? Hey, can we interview? Yeah, you know. And we
I
just
do that at PAX. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But I'm an introvert because then I go home and fall asleep for 2 days, and then I come back and do it again. It's fine. So, but Doug's amazing. I can't say anything bad about him. He's been really, really kind.
Where did the name DM Tales come from?
So I was trying to figure out what the name of the story was going to be, and at the time I was just playing D&D, and my brain was Dungeon Master, so DM. Hopefully, I don't get WotC to send the Pinkertons after me. But so it was DM, and I was originally DM stories, and one of my Discord, for my Monday group that we were running the campaign for, it's like no, Tales, and that became DM Tales,
Oh,
and
awesome.
that's how I've been ever since. So, and it's been fun.
So that person, now that you credit them, they'll be suing you in 50 years when you become rich and famous.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, but you guys can keep waiting. Look, I'll embrace, if it happens, I'll embrace the lawsuit and give you whatever you want. It's fine. It's good. So as long as I have a little bit just to keep my game buying habit alive, I'm good.
And
So,
before I ask my question, I just want to touch back on something you said. You said, when you were first doing videos and you were finding your voice, every time I have a guest on, I try to do a deep dive and I'll go watch 5 or 6 of your first year videos, and then try to go in order. And I personally like the early videos because I think you have a sincerity that comes across on the screen. And the whole purpose of when you talk about fonts and how layouts are, that's not necessarily my bag, but I love watching other content creators that are teaching me something. So that's why I appreciate watching your content, because you bring up stuff that my eye wouldn't necessarily spot or see. And that's why, I watch a lot of times. I watch YouTube content to learn stuff.
yeah.
And I learned some stuff from your video, so I just want to thank you for that.
Oh,
and
thanks.
I just want to add to that, being a game designer myself, that is very much one of those things that makes a lot of sense. When you hear another person talk about it, you might have a thing for layouts and somebody else might have a thing for, how contextual it's put together and so on and so forth. And those are all teaching aspects that whether that person is a nerd into that or not, but if they're a game designer or even just a person who, has got a little creative juice, it adds to your aesthetic. And yeah, so as Anthony would say, thank you very much, because it does give you a different way of looking at it. Like when you're getting a book laid out or whatever, now it's gonna, hey, can we do this or can we do that, or so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, good stuff.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
like to be helpful.
Cool.
I really like to be helpful, and I don't know how to take a compliment. So thank you.
We try to tell it like it is.
DM Tales covers a large array of different tabletop role-playing games. Do you have a favorite system at the moment? And what system are you the least fond of at the moment?
I mean, it's the least fond of is the easy shot, because I personally do not like ultra high fantasy. And for me as a player, it's because I'm waiting around so much for the casters to get done doing their thing. But then running it, by the time I got done running my 5e campaign, I was just done. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. I wasn't having fun. And the way I try to describe it again is I always try to put a positive spin. That's just, it doesn't work in my mind space. So I didn't have fun with that. And that's all it is. It's not like the people who play 5e are stupid. It's just, that's just where I am. My favorite 2 games right now, the number 1 is Dragonbane, because it hits my fantasy. I like fantasy, but it's low and it's dangerous. And and it's goofy, and I can play an anthropomorphic duck, so that just makes me happy. And then my second is running a Numenera Cypher. So those are actually, I'm about to switch from basic fantasy RPG to Dragonbane with my one group that's online, and my in-person game has been running Numenera for about a year. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, he loves people.
I'm gonna throw out there for you too. Just keep your eye on the new Conan game that's getting ready to come out. The new
So it's not 2D20 anymore right now. Who's
it's
doing
not
it now?
Modiphius. They it seems like I guess they lost their license or they
They
let it
did.
lapse or something. So it's been picked up, and the quick start is kind of cool. you
Oh,
know?
cool.
So
What's the
yeah,
mechanic? Is it a D20 or what's it running?
yeah, but not in the traditional sense.
Okay.
You know,
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
yeah.
If you like kind of a game like a Conan type thing, Pickpocket Press just did their crowdfunding for it's kind of low fantasy gaming 2. It's called Tales of Argosa. Their quick start guide just looks cool because he went all like old school art. So it's color on the interior, but all the artwork is old ink style drawings. And it looks brilliant. It's so crisp and sharp, and I'm looking forward to getting into that.
I love that old black and white like drawing art. It brings me back to my childhood, seeing all the
It
that's
takes you
just
back.
so nostalgic.
Yeah, the
Takes you back to
contrast is
the,
what draws you in, right?
yeah.
It's
I
what
mean,
draws you in.
I just remember the old, Savage Sword of Conan books. Those were all black and white.
Mm-hmm.
The cover was
Yeah.
always color, but the
Yep.
interior was black and white, and it did draw you in.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, if you have a question for Wes in the chat, just please preface it with the word question so Al will know and he'll clip it. And if Wes has time at the end of our questions, we'll definitely ask as many as we can.
I'm just thanking folks for kind words in the chat.
Yeah.
It was very, very nice. So
So, in the last year or so, you've done a lot of shows on Numenera and Cypher System.
mhm.
Tell us how you discovered MCG and what's your overall impression of the Cypher System?
So I really love the Cypher System, and it shocked me because the first time I hit a game where the GM didn't roll, I was like, no, I want to have fun too. Why are you taking the fun away from me? And I remember seeing a video about Cypher System, and she's like, and the GM doesn't roll. I was like, because I want to have fun too. And then they started talking about how the level system works and how easy it is. And it's like, wait a minute, there's no modifiers. Okay, no, you've got me. And then they started talking about GM intrusions, and I went, dang it. And so that was probably not on purpose. It was all kind of coincidental. Right around the time that the OGL crisis hit, that I was like, I think I want to get Cypher System, and that's actually the first book I bought. So I turned 50 and got a bunch of money and spent them all on RPG books. So and one of the first books that I bought was Cypher System direct from Monte Cook, and I got Numenera later on, but Cypher System was the first book that I got. It was like, okay, this is cool. I need to run this somehow, and that's where I was. So now I'm okay that I don't roll dice.
I'm laughing because I said I like binged a lot of your videos, so I know you were not a fan of the content.
Not a fan.
With Forbidden Lands or Cypher System. So because I saw both those videos, so when you mentioned it again, it just made me laugh.
Yeah, the Warpland review. I was like, I want to have fun. I'm gonna roll damage. And that was, but I like, okay, no, I understand. Like, I get to have fun too, and I get to do all the stuff, and it was good. And that's what drew me in. It's the GM intrusions and the fact that the leveling system's so easy. It's really cool.
I think, personally, oh, go ahead, Dean.
I was just saying, I think everybody who initially touches any Cypher System book has the same response. I mean, I'm a dice goblin. I love dice. And, when they said I didn't get to roll dice, I'm like, what? That's not fair.
That's exactly how I felt.
And now it's like, man, this is cool as hell. Yeah. Y'all go ahead. Your fate is in your hands. You do it.
I just personally think from a GM perspective, it's very liberating that your mind doesn't have to worry about, since you're not rolling dice, you're not doing much math on the background. You're not doing much. Your mind is free to think of other things. Think of the narrative. Think of cool GM intrusions. Think of your transition from scene to scene, and I think it's very liberating. And at first, I did have a problem with it, but once I started like like really digging deep into just running Cypher, I realized that it's actually for the best.
Yeah, I have a whole lot more clock cycles to think up ways to ruin the party's day.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. I will say this, though. I am angry with Monte Cook Games because they're turning me now into a deck goblin, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm like, well, I want that deck now, too. And now maybe I'll have that deck. I'm like, oh, give me now I got to go buy these things, too. Shoot. And I am going to buy all of them, too.
Oh, Wes, I'm going to ask you this question, and yes, there is a wrong answer. DM screen or no DM screen?
So I have made 2 GM screens in my life. So the first is like literally like the 3-ring binder with duct tape. So that was my first one. And my second one, let me see if I can actually find it up here, is one that I made based on a YouTube video. And all I did, I Mod Podged the actual GM screen on a chipboard. So that's it. So I am a GM screen guy. And I never thought I would be. And I'm like, no, I kind of like having the GM screen because I'm old now and I forget things. So
send me your address after this video, and I'm gonna send you one of the MCG mats. They will change your life, Wes. They will change your life.
If it gives me more space to put out all of my decks, I'm totally in. We're good.
Listen, Wes, what he's telling you is like really not a joke, because the truth of the matter is, I used to like my DM screens, but yeah, the Mets are amazing, and
it's not like I have to hide anything because I'm not hiding your dice rolls.
Yeah, you're not punching rolls, so
I will accept that challenge.
Yeah. The match changed my life.
Is that why they're not updating the Numenera GM screen anymore? Because it's still for the original stuff. They just have the mat now, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, they updated the mats though. They redid all the mats. They added additional. They did a Discovery and Destiny mat. They updated the mats. They just didn't update the
I will happily accept the challenge. I mean,
I made a cape that we took to was it Gen Con? I think it was Gen Con.
It was Game Hole.
I made a cape with all the stats, and he was running around with a cape.
It was Captain Cypher.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's awesome. I like that.
Is it me or you? We got totally off topic like we always do.
I'm showing off my crafting skills, so I'm having fun. I'm good.
So what's the one mechanic that you love about Cypher? Before I ask your favorite Cypher mechanic?
Oh, it's GM intrusions.
Oh, nice.
And I love, and it's not because I love misery, but I love it when they roll a 1 and they go, oh no, and then just really wonky things happen, and it's so much fun. And I don't have to give them experience points for it too, so I can laugh at them while they do it. I'm not really a person. I just play one on the internet. Yeah. And it's a lot of it. Just the way to change things. And I've actually had players, I shouldn't say GM, but it's player intrusions too, because I've had people do the insane things, player intrusions, to where like structures that I had not even thought of pop into existence and become the narrative of the day. So they had gone down, their first adventure was in a city it was on the edge of the Steadfast that I invented. And they had to go down and get something from a medicine maker of ill repute. And so they were going down in what's called the Crags, which is like this ravine inside the city, which is unfortunately where kind of like more economically challenged folks lived. And as they were on their way out, they got accosted by the local gang who just wanted a couple of shins. And my daughter, who is a chaos goblin, bears a halo of fire. And they had also visited a cabbage dealer that day, because the cabbage man exists in my world now because they asked. And she lit a cabbage on fire and threw it at them. I said, okay, I think I said it was only like a level 2
Yeah.
So she's gonna, because she wasn't trying to hit them. She was just trying to scare them off. I'm like, okay. She rolled a 1 and she sailed over and lit an apartment building on fire. So one guy ran in and the other person's like, and someone goes, well, wait a minute here. Can I do a player choose? I'm like, sure. We'll call them aqueducts since we're at the bottom of the city. Are they nearby? I'm like, sure. So all of a sudden there was basically an open air sewer coming into the ravine, into the stream that went through it. And so we put the fire out. They knocked over the thing to just make it flow into the apartment building. And then they left. And they didn't stop it.
I love player and GM intrusion stories from GMs and just from people on the server talking about them, because players always make the game more interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, both the GM and player intrusions. Intrusions is just a phenomenal mechanic. I love that answer.
It's cool.
So,
it changes things. It's neat.
We're talking about your YouTube channel. Do you have any advice for someone that wants to start a YouTube channel? And what are some of the pitfalls they could avoid that you learned before they get started?
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about this for a while now. Don't follow the algorithm. It will beat you up and leave you destitute in an alley. Like when you make it a business, like when you get to the point where it's like your livelihood, then you have to. But if you want to do this, like follow the things that you like to do. Just if you want to review games and do something that both you enjoy and what people enjoy seeing. So it's not, and you're going to do videos that you think are, oh, everybody's going to watch this, and nobody watches it. And you'd be one like, that was the worst thing I ever did. And suddenly that's like making 1,000 views and like, for that, what is going on? You have no idea. But just do the things that you like and enjoy, and that other people enjoy watching. And when you find that middle ground somewhere, then you won't have like the explosive growth, and you're not going to be famous or internet famous or whatever passes for that on YouTube. But you'll at least have something that you enjoy doing. And I think that gives you a lot of stamina to keep kind of going through the process for a few, more than a year or two and flaming out. So just don't follow the algorithm at all.
That's great advice. So, don't follow the algorithm, but do you plan on running some actual plays on your channel soon?
Yes. And I actually, so this is one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the Anywhere Door grant. So with my setup right now, I could do it. It would be a little bit difficult. I do have one actual play on my channel of us running Shadow Dark. And that kind of, because my internet connection and my computer both melted down. And so what I'm looking at doing is getting onto EV MOOCs at a level that lets me bring in web sources so I can bring in a VTT if I want to use one, and do it that way. But I would love to do a Dragonbane. I would love to do some Cypher System actual plays. And I would love to revisit Shadow Dark as an actual play at some point too. Those are 3 systems that are a lot of fun. And I have a bunch of goofball friends who would be interesting to do that with. So it should be kind of fun.
Oh, so do you plan to film an in-person table, or do you plan to film like online, like the talking heads that you traditionally see lately on actual play?
Yes. The answer to that question is yes. So I do have the capability to do an in-person stream. I think I have enough cameras, and I think I can do the audio okay. That's always my brain is going, can I do that well? Definitely going to be doing it online at some point, but like when we'll talk about this in a little bit, when my full EcclesiaCon comes, I might want to do an actual play game and stream that as part of the event just to see how that works out. Maybe I'll just be a player. So, but it'd be fun. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, that's the dream for me, is that, we get our new house and I get the big Studio D, as I like to call it, my man cave, and put the table down there and just record the weekly gaming sessions.
Oh, that would be very nice. I'm in our guest room and I have to break it down every time my in-laws come over. So it's very easy. I can do it in like 30 seconds, but
This used to be a guest room, but it's my room.
I'm actually recording in the what would be like the cubby space of my kitchen. Like I have a little computer set up, with a desk and 3 monitors.
Your
Wow.
backdrop needs to be like salt and pepper shakers now. They're a spice rack or something. That would be great.
The only benefit is I can always grab a quick snack and a drink during the stream or during actual play without having. So I'm hoping that we'll get millions from the Anywhere door, so I could build an extension again.
Yeah, that's sweet grant money. Yes.
Like I said, get the new house so I can have the finished basement with all the stuff.
So we were just talking
a subscription. That's all. So,
I just want to build an entirely new room on my house. That's all I really need. I'm not asking for much.
The MCG wing. We're good. We're all good.
We were just talking about you. Welcome to the Anywhere Door MCG team. Welcome to the family. You kind of touched on this a little. You're going to be a content creator on Anywhere Door, as well as ourselves. Can you tell our audience what sort of content they can expect from you on that platform? And you don't normally stream, right? So is that going to be like different for you?
No, I mean, I do the live stream interviews, so I've done that. Yeah. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. And I thought maybe for my first attempt to do something would be to take folks who have characters for other systems and bring them online and go through the process of trying to recreate them inside Cypher system. Be really cool because I think it could show off some of the strengths of the system and some of the builds that are going to be a little bit more difficult. So my first one is probably going to be my friend's character from our Shadow Dark live stream, which is his name is Honest John, who is a wanted halfling wizard who has I think he had a 6 wisdom. That's going to be a difficult build to make inside Cypher system. It is possible because I've tried, but it's going to be interesting to go through and try to do it because to reduce power enough to get to that more Shadow Darky feel. That's a much more tricky build, but it's possible. And so I'd like to show people how I'd like to show people how you do it. Like you nerf their intellect, right? So that's like just make him some focus that drops their intellect score down. So it's possible, but I'd love to do some of those more difficult builds and kind of show people how you can work on it and use the Monte Cook Games character builder to do it.
Oh, nice!
Because we can show it right online. It'd be great.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you plan to just use like the CSR as a base, or allow other books?
No, I would allow other books because it's especially because the white books, the content's all basically in the CSR anyway, so you might as well just use it. That's part of the great thing about Monte Cook, right? Is that they do this, and I just think it would be a fun time.
You know what? We should talk after the stream because I got some ideas, and you wouldn't necessarily have to nerf their intellect score.
Oh, okay. Just give them a lot of hindrances on things, or
let's talk about it. I don't want to overtake the show with that. We got to get back to the nitty gritty.
Let's go back to the nitty gritty.
Now, Anthony asked you that great question. What kind of stuff you're going to do, but I'm going to ask another one that's in the same vein. In your opinion, what makes a good role-playing game? And what type of things do you look for, for games to play in or review?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, the simple answer is like when they asked somebody what porn was back in the 80s. You'll know it when you see it. The long answer, it's such a taste thing for folks. I'm not a min-maxer. Like that just doesn't appeal to me. I don't have the brain that obsesses over things like that. So I tend to look for games that don't lend itself to min-maxing. Just because I have more fun that way. And and so for me, that's where I go. I want to have a game where you can build a character pretty quick. Cypher's actually the outlier in that, because that's character building can be a little lengthy because there's so many options.
Yeah.
But I like games where you can build a character pretty quick and you make it your own by the way that you play it. I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily drawn to games where here's your path and you will walk on this and this is who you will be now. And I'm like, okay, like I never understood in 5e going through the character build, like here's your background, and it never comes up unless you really want to role play it. And why I had a deck of cards, I don't know. But that's the types of things that I like, that I really, really like. One of the things that draws me to Cypher system is something that I had to grow into, because I first encountered it in Kids on Bikes, and I didn't quite like it at that point because it felt like being in group therapy. And for folks who don't know, my day job is a pastor, so I've been in prayer circles, and if I get that vibe from reading something, I'm running the other direction because they're torture. And so it was that idea of everybody sit down and talk about how you're connected. I'm like, oh no, please, no, I can't, no. Because there's always one person who's going to try to go last and dominate the whole thing. And Cypher, when I made the Cypher characters for the Numenera characters, and they got to the connection part, that was so much fun. And I was so blown away at how wrong I was, which is really cool. And they all did. We're rolling random, so I like randomized stuff too.
Yeah.
So they all rolled random for their connections, and it is the most motley crew, bizarro group of people who should ever be together. They figured out the one person was like tracking their nemesis. That was one of the things for the glaive. And the glaive. No, what's the fighter's name? I always forget.
The Glaive and Numenera.
Thank you. My brain. I was thinking the old movie. And so Kroll. So they came up with the idea that his nemesis was his aunt, who had become like her personality changed because there was a fertilizer that they were using that was was Numenera. And so they were running out of it, and so they tried to recreate it. And she was a chemist, and she kind of pulled a Walter White, and like turned everybody to stone and ran off. And he came up with that just from that one thing, and that's where they ended up in this town, and they ended up tracking her down, and they found up some. She wasn't herself.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on. I just have to say this. Does everybody have a drink? Because I'm about to say it. That is the classic paradigm shift. You had it.
No, it was great. Now I feel disappointed. I should have saved some.
I'm just saying that's what it is, though. That and I love to hear stories like that. I mean, Anthony knows it because I preach it. I harp on it. When you stop trying to gamify and stop worrying about mechanics and just separate from that aspect, Cypher system takes on a whole new light. Yeah. And it gives you things, just like you were saying about how, even creating a character set, sometimes it can be time consuming. Yeah, that's if you decide that you want to let them have access to every damn thing in the book, curate a list. Curate it down until they get into it and they start knowing it. And then it's like, okay, you can switch your focus, or you can, you can expand upon it, or we can modify it, whatever needs to happen. But like I said,
that's a good question. Dean mentioned it and you mentioned it. You actually have an experience that I haven't experienced in a long time, but I've been playing Cypher so long. How was it as a fresh GM and new players all creating characters together? How was that experience like?
It was a lot. Like I said, the connection part was a lot of fun. Everybody really enjoyed it. Then we were running Numenera, so I was brand new, so they had access to everything. It was interesting. The part that I most got tripped up on was equipment. And that's just because I'm from basic
Yeah.
expert, and I had the equipmentist, and I'm looking for the gold pieces, and no, that doesn't exist anymore. So that's the paradigm, and I still trip over that a little bit because I'm 51 and I was playing this when I was 10. So this is part ingrained into my brain right now. But so that's something that I still kind of wrestle with against. But I'm getting used to it, and it's more fun now. Like, who cares? Just take the stuff. It's great.
It's funny you say that because a couple of weeks ago I was like setting up for a one shot, and the person never played Cypher System before, so, and I don't want to call the name because it's not necessarily embarrassing, but they couldn't grasp the concept of, hey, what do you want to fill out your character? Because they kept on hopping back at, hey, it says I get 3 expensive items, 2 moderate items. I was like, what do you want that makes sense?
I will tell you if it's expensive. Just grab it.
Like, but that's 3 expensive. I said, don't worry, it's not gonna break the game.
It really is. I'll be able to kill you anyway. Just go do it. Have fun. It's fine. No,
because you do get stuck in that mindset that what's on your sheet is what the book tells you has to be on your sheet, as opposed to what makes sense for your character.
Yep, and that's where I tripped.
It's. I think that's the one thing in Cypher that a lot of people, like we're talking, people get tripped up on because they get tripped up on the fact that you as a GM, you're free to say, "Hey, this is how it works." And players are free to, negotiate how it works, and, and I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's, for me, that's why I love it. Like I said, the cinematic idea of telling a story. This is why we can recreate movies, because you're not bound by a set of rules, a set of, hard-coded ideas. You have flexibility. So it's the bee's knees for me.
The system is set up to support the fiction, which is nice. And there is a game there, so don't let people think there's no game, but there's an actual game. It's a lot of fun. It's really good. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the freewheeling of that. And then I have, with Dragonbane, I have the more mechanical aspect, and they're both fun in their own ways, which is fun.
You mentioned Shadow Dog too. I want to play in a game with Shadow Dog. So if you ever got an extra spot, hit me up.
I am running a funnel.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what they call it. It's something different in Shadow, but I am running a funnel at the EcclesiaCon event. So that'll be.
Yeah, I've never played Shadow Dog, and I really want to try it out. Oh, speaking of which, you want to plug that?
Sure, why not? So EcclesiaCon is an event that I started last year. It's ripping off of something that preceded it, but it was an event I started last year. Was a 3-day gaming convention in the basement of my church, because why do anything normal? And we split the proceeds. We had just put a new roof on, and so it was half of it was going to the roof replacement funds. And we have AA meet here. We have an immigrant church that meets here. I got Women, Infant, and Children is coming into doing stuff. So we do a lot of stuff for community. The music school does their concerts here. So that was important to me, to make sure that we honor that we're using that space. And then the other half of it went to our food pantry, which is just down the street, which is really keeping people from having to make decisions between eating food and paying rent, which seems like a good idea to me. Even better idea if they didn't have to make that decision at all, but that's where we are. And so that's kind of where we are. And so for this one is a 1-day event. It's going to be September 28th because I'm too exhausted to run more than one multi-event day event in a year. But this will be a 1-day event on September 28th, Palmyra, New Jersey. All the proceeds minus the hall rental fee, which is negligible. Again, we have to pay for things like electricity, are going to booksmiles.org, which is this incredible organization in South Jersey. It's out of Pennsauken. They literally invite teachers to come in and just fill up boxes for their classroom library. They give books out to children so they can build their library, so they can develop a love of reading. because the more that you love to read, the more that you're eager to learn, and the more you can do things like play really strange games where you're playing characters who can do bizarre things like throw flaming cabbages at people. And so that's important to me, is that folks get into that idea story. So as we did a book drive, somebody from I didn't even have anything to do with it. I just made the poster, but we did a book drive for them a couple years ago where the whole town was just collecting books. And that's been something I wanted to be involved with for the last couple of years, and life has been loopy. So this is my chance to dive back in and raise just a little bit of money for them. And we're also going to collect books there. So if you want to take a slightly used kids book, come in. If you want to take a slightly used for, grown people book, you can use those too. And they actually sell those and use the proceeds to buy more kids books. So
that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a great organization, and the stuff that they do is incredible. Both my wife and daughter are teachers, so they've benefited with their classroom libraries. And to give that love of reading to a kid is one of the coolest things you can do.
So, would you guys like some, I don't know, some cipher books to add to that?
I'll ask them. So because it was interesting. I was like, I was going to do a live stream and try to do it as a fundraiser for Book Smiles.
Or maybe we could donate some No Thank You Evil copies if that's.
I think that would probably be a little bit better, because it's going to be it's age appropriate. I think they only go up to like 6th grade.
Oh, okay.
So Cypher would be okay. Maybe some No Thank You Evil. And
we would
love to donate a couple.
We'll definitely get a couple of copies of that and send it to you.
I'll warn them that it's coming, because when I talked about it, it's like, hey, I'm doing this, and I thought it would be a good thing, and they're like, we've never thought of that, because strange people rolling dice does not necessarily communicate to people a love of reading until you see our bookshelves. You're like, oh, okay.
You can't say dice. You have to say math rocks or something.
Clickety clackety math rocks that are shiny. So
you teach your kids how to roll craps? What's wrong with you?
With more than 6 sides, we go nuts.
But the sad part is, No Thank You Evil only has 6 siders.
I know, it's great.
So,
we could definitely figure out a way to donate some copies of No Thank You Evil. I mean, if you'll let us, we'll absolutely love to do that.
Absolutely, I'll make sure that they get them. Thank you so much, and I'll blow their mind.
You said it's in South Jersey. I'm going to tell a few people I know in that area.
Thank
you. And who knows? Maybe I can drive down and hang out for the day.
I would love to meet you guys. And if you're coming to PAX Unplugged this year, I would love to bump in and spend some time. So
I know I'm be able to make PAX. I know I'm going to Game Hole. We're going to Game Hole in October.
I'm hoping next year. Next year, I'm hoping. Yeah.
If anyone has any questions for Wes, before we go into our rapid fire questions, throw some questions in for Wes. I'm sure Wes will have the time to answer some of them.
Sure.
Just preface it by the word question before I go into our last question. We talked about the con, which is phenomenal, and we definitely want to help out. We'll talk about that offline. But is there anything else you want us to know about you, your channel, or any projects that you got going on that we might not have discussed?
Yeah, for folks, I've had a lot of folks lately who are working on games who have reached out to me. Thank you so much. Every time someone says, hey, I want you to look at my game, I'm honored. My review queue is really long now, so I try not to promise. If you are developing a game and it's a point where you want to play test it, if you want to come on my Discord server, I can try to introduce you to some friends who do like to play games and blow them up, which is really helpful for game designers. Would love to have you to be able to come on for that. Which is that's always something my goal in life is to actually be helpful for other people. That's kind of how I'm wired, and I surprise myself sometimes that I actually am that way. And I'm not good at it. I just want to do it. And then for my brain is just lost what the question was. For stuff that's going on the channel, I'm really excited. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., Ron, who is the founder of the Philly Area Gaming Expo, is going to come on with me and Dave from Gamers on Games. And we're going to talk to him about the process of what it takes to start his con, because this isn't the first kind of event that he's run. How on earth he connected with all these people who are showing up, because I'm a little bit jealous, and how folks can come out and enjoy that. It's a really small convention. I think right now there's like 300 people who are registered. They'll probably have double that. But like Professor Dungeon Master is going to be there. Bob World Builder is going to be there. Runehammer is going to be there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like Questing Beast is going to be there. So, like, oh my gosh, and Bruce Menzer is going to be there.
Oh,
He was there
nice.
last year. Stephen Glicker is going to be there. So there's all these people who are coming that are just there to hang out, and you'll be able to hang out and literally sit at a table and play with some of these people and just have some fun. And they we were shooting the breeze last year with a couple people. So it's a nice teeny little con with really big aspirations and a lot of fun to be had. So if you're in the Philly area, come on out for that. So
And when is that one? When is that again?
that's Martin Luther King weekend in 2025. So January. Yep.
Techman asks, would Wes be interested in looking at stealing stories for the devil, the RPG?
Is that the one you guys mentioned yesterday with Charles?
Yeah.
Which is like the party game? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because nothing says Pastor like, let's play a game called Stealing Stories from the Devil. That just sounds like a great thing for me to do. I should not. Why would I do anything normal? Let's just do it. Go. Sid, I would love to see that game.
You should also look at Devil's Dandy Dogs while you had it. But neither one of them have any evil undertones, really.
Oh yeah, I don't. I find it sorry.
It's just funny that the names are the way they are because I guess you could consider it. I mean, you got to think about it. Stealing Stories for the Devil. Everybody in the game is a liar.
Yeah.
No, I'm Gen X. Irony is the last thing that I have left.
All right. Well, well, welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club.
I said, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but as a pastor, right?
Yeah.
What was Satanic Panic? The thought when you hear the stories of the Satanic Panic in the the 80s.
So
how did that happen?
I got hit. Well, I was 10, but I got hit with the tail end of it. Because I did not have a great adolescence, and just a little biography for me. I got the snot kicked out of me in a locker room fight, and ended up getting transferred out to Lancaster Mennonite High School. So like these are like the plain folk, right? Yeah. Great school, probably saved my life. So I credit it for them. So I kind of had my kind of coming to faith experience, making this part of my journey experience, and they did not like those games at all, and so I got rid of them. Now, looking back as a 51-year-old, I'm looking at the 17-year-old going, "Why are you so stupid?" But I'm philosophical enough at that point to realize, at that point in my life, I needed to step away from that and rediscover who I was on this new path. And then when I was more mature, when I was able to see this as a really cool hobby again, as an adult with someone who has a much broader understanding, I'd be able to come back. So I recognize that was part of the trip, but I'm also pissed that I had to give it away. However, I do have one friend. Here's the cool thing. I have one friend who he describes it as hoarding his childhood. And so I went back to try to collect all of my old books. So I went back. I now have like all my original covers of AD&D and stuff like that. Okay. And so I found the cover of the AD&D Player's Handbook that I had. And I said, "Hey, look, I've been looking for this and I found it." My friend goes, "Well, do you want yours?" What are you talking about? He sent me a picture with my name on it.
Oh, sad.
And he sent it to me. And then I said, "You have what?" Oh, no, by the way, that wasn't Player's Handbook. That was the Dungeon Master's Guide. He said, "I have your Dungeon Master's Guide too." And he's got my Player's Handbook. So the one that I bought is now, when I hit 4,000 subscribers, I'm giving this one away.
Oh,
so this is the extra one. So I do have a couple of relics from my own past, which is nice. So it was kind of cool that I got my book back. That was kind of fun.
I also have a funny Satanic Panic. So my mother was a devout Catholic, and I grew up in a pretty, low income, bad neighborhood in New York City.
Okay.
And she would go to church every Saturday, and she would come home and go, "You're playing this." Like she found out, like I guess some of the parents told her, "Oh, your son is playing the devil's game," and so she came home, and my mother didn't speak English, so she came home screaming in Spanish. What are you doing? You're ruining your life. And then she sat there and watched this for like 10 minutes. And he goes, "You mean you rolling dice and telling stories? You're all right.
You're fine."
And then she went back about, but she was like, "I'd rather have him home instead of outside, doing
Seriously, we're
horrible
hanging out in the basement. What are you talking about? To their credit, my parents never thought never were satanic panic people because they are not religious a little bit. They just thought I was weird. So
let me tell you my satanic panic story was in high school, and we had a vice principal, Dr. Foley. Will never forget this woman, and she basically followed Pat Robinson in the 700 Club.
I'm sorry.
And, oh yeah.
I'm
And
so sorry.
like I said, you can go and look it up. It was hilarious because Pat Robinson went on a tirade, and it has spells in the book. It's look, trap the soul, and he was just having a fit about it. But it was funny because we had to go try to defend our D&D club because she shut us down.
Okay.
And she's like, "But when does it end? When does the game end?" And I just very simply went, "Dr. Foley." I had my DM's guide open. I said, "Dr. Foley, you ever read a book?" She's like, "Yes." I'm an avid reader. I said, "Have you ever felt like you were a character in the book? You just were so into the story?" "Well, yes." I said, "So when does it end?" She said, "When I closed the book." I went and walked. Oh, I got in so much trouble. Hey, when you close the book.
That is called the good kind of trouble. Well done. Well
It was
done.
great. It was great. Yeah, she trapped the soul. Oh my God, it was hilarious. But
so the weird thing is, there's back in the 80s, there was the Christian response to D&D, which I had never heard about till I became an adult. It was called Dragon Raid, and it's actually, so when I got here, one of the previous pastors had it and left it in the office. So I have the original with like the cassette tape and everything that came with it. And it's chintzy, cheesy lore. It's not really well written. Mechanics are interesting enough. But as I was reading it, they want to have you be able to do fantastic effects in the game world, right? Sure. Well, how are we going to do that? We'll have them memorize scripture. And my brain exploded. Because from a sociological perspective, reciting something as a mantra to affect something from the spiritual realm into the world is actual magic. So they're upset with the fake scientific, I put the toadstool in here and the fingernail over there to make a magic missile. And I know that's not what the components of the spell are. Please do not yell at me. You're upset about that, so you did the real thing. Like, what is going on here? My brain exploded.
Wes, was that printed to be sold? Could I find a copy of that? I love that for my collection.
You can find a copy of it somewhere. Yeah, you can see it's on eBay.
Do you know?
I'll pick one up. I just love gaming books. So
there's another one. Do you know?
Mentioning that makes me want to buy it.
Well, if you're talking about that one, because I do have a copy of that, but do you know about Testament?
No.
There's another one that came out in the mid to late 90s called Testament. And it literally, it's, they've got, rules for becoming a Nephilim and all sorts of stuff. It is a D20 based RPG, but it's all spiritual. It's called Testament.
All right. I don't want to.
Now I have morbid curiosity.
I don't want to go to hell, so we're going to move to our rapid fire question.
No, do the rapid fire question.
So, The questions we have for you, that was just to warm you up.
Okay.
This is the real nitty gritty. This is where we dig deep into your soul. We pull out your essence. We stretch it on the table for the whole world to see. Are you ready for the Cypher Unlimited world famous rapid fire questions?
Shoot.
Question 1: player or GM?
Yes.
That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Pull punches or TPK?
Oh, I am probably too nice and I pull punches and I hate myself for it.
Online or in-person gaming?
Oh. I like in person better, but I appreciate online because I can do it more often.
Fair.
D?
I'm sorry. Announce the difficulty number or keep it secret. I'm thinking it's your turn.
Wait, what was that? What was that?
Announce the difficulty number or keep it secret.
Oh, I announce it.
Every time?
I like to give them dread. Yeah, just about every time.
Mhm.
I like to hear you have to beat this, and then they just feel bad when they don't roll the 6. It's great.
You know that we said that's the only mechanic that you could be accused of fudging in Cypher System.
Yes, it is. So, but no, I always say it out loud.
Salty or sweet snacks at the gaming table?
Salty. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm from the land of potato chips.
I would say
it out there. Yeah.
You have a specific chip that you prefer?
The gaming table. I don't like potato chips because they're so greasy. So give me a nice blue corn chip and I'm happy.
Nice.
Okay. RP or combat?
RP. Yeah. RP lets wacky, bizarro things happen. That lead to combat, but I like the wacky, bizarro things.
Al said just use chopsticks to eat your chips at the gaming table.
I am left-handed, and the reason why I don't use minis for tactical games is because I would knock them off the table and launch them so hard they become embedded into walls. So the chopsticks are not happening. Sorry. So
PDFs or physical books?
yes. I love reading a physical book. A PDF, I don't have to worry about how much light is in the room. And I'm old, so it matters. Also, I can figure out a way to get rid of the glare because physical books, if they put glossy paper on it, I'm not happy with them. I want my flat paper.
Nice.
So, yep.
And
what's next?
I literally just asked the question.
I'm losing it today.
It's fine.
Pen and paper.
No, first of all, you shouldn't have mentioned Testament because now you're possessed. What's wrong with you?
Pen and paper notes or digital?
I mentioned that I am left-handed, so digital is what allows me to actually do things like go to higher education, because before the advent of computers, they probably would have thought I was an idiot because my handwriting is not legible. So,
can you read your handwriting? That's all that matters, Wes.
Sometimes.
See, I'm the anomalous left-handed person. Everybody talks about my penmanship, my friends, because I was like, I'm not going to be a bad handwriting person because you people are weird.
And they are like, the whole world's backwards, right?
We are in our right minds.
Yes. And well, they did a study. So left-handed people tend to have shorter tempers. And they're like, well, why is it? Because we constantly have to readjust our brain because you all set up the world the opposite way.
Sure.
So, yes.
You know what we should do? That's actually pretty cool. Maybe let's try to get 5 left-handed GMs and 5 right-handed GMs and give them the same scenario and see what is there's actual difference.
Oh, that would be hysterical.
Let's do it. That's another show on the Anywhere door, Ant.
I would love that.
Let's do it. I'm in. I'm in 100%.
We'll give everyone the same exact scenario. You know, like a cipher short.
That sounds like an anywhere door show.
Yeah,
That's what just anywhere door. That's it. That's perfect. Last one, Dan.
Pre-written adventures or original content?
I lean towards original content. I have learned with Numenera to appreciate pre-written adventures, and I've incorporated a couple of them. But I like writing my own stuff because I'm a snob.
You survived the world famous rapid fire question. Woo!
There we go. Do we owe an homage for that to the Colbert questionnaire? Is that where that comes from? It was really because it has that wonderful flavor.
You know what? It actually, I don't remember. Anthony just came up with it, and it just has become our staple.
I love it. It's so great. The salty versus sweet snacks. Perfect.
And we've done a couple of variations. Like we did a horror one for Sean K. Reynolds when we did it, had him on about Stay Alive. You know, it is a great thing. It's fun.
Oh, it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Wes, this has been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you on. We definitely got to do this again. You know, you're fantastic to chat with. You have a wealth of knowledge. Please go check out your your YouTube channel. If you haven't, please go support DM Tales. Where can you be found on all your social medias for our audience to know?
So it's very simple. I'm DM Tales basically everywhere, except for Twitter because I left that platform. So I'm on Mastodon. I'm on Blue Sky. I do have an Instagram that I just started that I don't spend more time on because I'm old. And I have my YouTube channel and Facebook. So I am in those old people places. It's good. No.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
It's good.
Trust me, I'm the old man of the bunch. I'm older than you, so we're
all right. We're good.
You know, so yeah, we're good. We understand each other.
Yeah,
so,
I can't thank you enough. And yeah, thanks so much. Dean's gonna kick us out, but before he does, I just want to remind everyone there's still a couple of hours left on Anywhere Door. You could catch episodes of DM Tales there. You could catch episodes of Cat Hub, Mr. Taras, Cypher Unlimited. The whole purpose, Monte Cook Games, I think they're only like 600 away from doubling the donation for the content creators. It's 19,000, right? And I think they're like 600 away from that. Please go check it out. Throw them a few bucks. It's going to help us indirectly. And I'm a firm believer that the more content creators they create building in this space, we're going to get more great people doing awesome things, and I want to see that. So please go check out the Anywhere Door. There's only a couple hours left. And Dean, take us away.
So if you like us and you like what we do, be sure to join our Discord channel. It's the largest fan-run site for everything MCG related. All things Monte Cook Games. Games are being run there all the time, at all hours of the day, in all time zones. You know, and if Discord is not for you, you can join our Facebook group. Facebook isn't as large as our Discord, but there's still plenty of discussions to be had and being had there. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch here. You know, and if you miss our Twitch shows will always be uploaded the next day to YouTube. We're trying our best to continue to grow that platform and make it bigger and better, you know, because this is what we do and we love you guys so much. Give us a little donation on Ko-fi. Our videos will always be free, but Ko-fi donations help us with little things like doing our giveaways and so on and so forth. And if not for you, you can always buy some merch like the nice little shirt I have on here, Cypher Unlimited. We're going to have the new Anthony Cypher Unlimited hat. We're also, of course, going to be having new shirts made for this year's CypherCon, Into the Cypherverse, you know. And, you know, with all that being said, we love you guys. And from us at the CU, we will see all of you later.